Ladies and gentlemen, how we all doing? Again, this is Prolific, and this is R4M Studios, ready for marriage. This is the very platform where we get you ready for that very beautiful beginning you'd like to begin with your spouse. And today we have a very interesting, dynamic, I don't know what the adjective. So I'm going to leave it blank for you to figure out what it is you like to use as an adjective for him. He's an amazing friend. He's an amazing resource person. So we have in the studio this afternoon Mr. Don Amos. I think you're going to tell us the idea behind the Don. Are you behind Don Simon drink? I don't get it, man. You're welcome to R4M Studios.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes,
so
please
much.
introduce yourself. Tell us what you do. Do you sell children for a living? What do you do?
I set up children for a living.
Oh, you set up children.
Set up people for a living.
Awesome.
Anyway, my name is Sadon Amos, aka the Jesus Season Boy. I'm a relationship strategist, a relationship status profiler, and an emotional healing therapist. I run a platform, an NGO-like platform that is called Aim High Mentorship Network. I run a network for young people where I help them strike a balance between their relationship and their career, so that they don't get to run into whatever they think it's part of their passion, and then 10 years into it, they are realizing that they are switching and they had already wasted 10 years. So I just help them build balance and then progress from there.
Awesome. That sounds like just a paragraph, but trust me, it's something you do for a lifetime. Not be set up like a camera, but it sets up people. Okay, so we're going to have an interesting conversation, brief, straight to the point, but it's going to be loaded, it's going to be juicy. And today we're talking about, and this is going to be a series. This is the part one. We're going to have some other guests come into our studios to talk about it, but today we're starting off with him, Sir Don Amos, and we're talking about conflict resolution. So it sounds like a lot of grammar for a lot of people. So in a nutshell, what is conflict resolution?
Conflict resolution, usually I break that into two. There is a combination of two words, conflict and resolution. And conflict just means disagreements, right? Where two people come together and they're trying to achieve a particular purpose, and then something comes up and then cause them to disagree based on an initial agreement they have. So the resolution now comes into play. Many times I tell people resolution, dissolution, there are two different words, right? Dissolution is to dissolve, but resolution is a completely different. A lot of time when they say conflict resolution, people just imagine that is to repair, but it's not necessary to repair. Is when somebody predominantly decided and held a ground that is not making a move from this stand that I'm taking. That's what resolution is. So conflict resolution is where people have disagreement based on something and they are not agreeing or accepting to make a move from that stance that they have taken.
They don't want to find a point of compromise.
So they just decide to take that stand, and majorly, most times, for you to make a shift, humility has to come into play. So until humility comes into play, there is no move, there is no resolution, there is no agreeing and then moving forward from that point.
Who do you think you found more, who don't give you tough time pass? Is it usually the guys or is the ladies? Is it like the guys with their ego, or is it like the ladies? I want to lock up because it's not a man's world, or is it the men saying I will not back down for a woman? So in your experience, who have you usually had a problem with?
Well, I will revert to the foundational issue. And one of the foundational issues is many times is environmental influence, background influence. Most times background influences people and bring them to a place where they pick up a resolve and stand by it, and it gives them a particular mindset and they don't shift from it. And it affects and influences them a lot. So to build a balance with that, sometimes it's women and other times it's men. And from my experience, I think mostly I will say the women, because there are times that you give a woman an instruction based on what she came and complained about, and then you give her guidance and she goes and does whatever she wants to do based on what her emotions have influenced her, or just spur her to go and do. She just go and carry it out away from the instruction you give. And they will return back again and come and complain the same thing. And then you ask them, did you follow the pattern and the principle I gave you? And they will end up saying no. You tell them by say, go and follow it line by line, precept by precept, and see how it works out for you.
But let me interrupt you. Don't you think relationship?
Yeah.
Don't you think you're putting yourself in trouble? Because I mean, you're talking to one person, you're not talking to the other person. And then if it's conflict resolution, I don't know. Isn't there supposed to be a point of compromise between two parties?
Yes.
Do you make an attempt to reach the guy if it's the lady you're having audience with? Do you make an attempt to reach the lady if it's the guy you're talking with? How do you go about it?
Okay, here's how this works. A dimension of what I do is, like I said earlier when I was doing the introduction, I'm a relationship strategist, relationship status profiler, and emotional healing therapist. You know, what we do in therapy is we help people reconcile back to themselves and bring them back to their identity and who they truly are. So most times when a lady comes to us with, you know, she's emotionally traumatized, maybe a guy broke up with her and all of that, with that we cannot say that we are going to reach out to the young man to bring about a reconciliation. He has broken up and he has moved on. So we stepping into the whole thing, it might end up be that we are crossing lines. So we stay within the confines of who came to us and see how best we can help this person.
Okay.
That's why many times we don't reach out. So, but where couples reach out to us and the woman reaches out to us or a man reaches out to us, we always want to do questionnaires and ask, do you want us to reach out to your significant other? Do you want us to come in to help you both as a couple, or you just want us to help you? And then we help them based on the response they give us.
Awesome.
But most times we just try to help them find the balance. And many times when people come to us to find, you know, healing emotionally, it's a function of abuse. Like yesterday, I was talking to one of my daughters. She's in Lagos, a medical doctor that schooled abroad. And she's in a relationship with somebody that is a car dealer. He shuffles between Lagos and Ghana. And this guy, first of all, he's not as educated as she is. But over time, where their relationship has progressed to, he has brought her to a place where he subjected her to a point where she has lost her identity. She has lost herself. This man calls her names. This man practically abuses and insults her to the point where every time he abuses her, she always wants to return back to go and explain herself. Meanwhile, you don't owe him that explanation. And that's what he has, you know, sometimes men have built that thing where they just trap you, put you in a corner and limit your expressions.
That sounds like a lot. I mean, you go through life, you get educated, you gain exposure, experience, and then you make a wrong choice, and then you have to pick up your life like a pack of cards. It's really as we begin to round off, I'd just like to know, what would you like to say to people when it comes to, because you know this thing about there's this popular saying growing up, prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
You know, so I think naturally as human beings there will always be conflict because we have different personalities.
Yeah.
So but what would you, I want you to speak to people concerning making choice, you know, choosing a life partner, because if you choose the right person, by right is relative.
Yeah.
My right might be your wrong.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
your right has to be in the frame of where you are going to with your life. So in choosing a life partner, you will still have conflicts. So, but it's just going to be minimal. Because you're with the right person, but there will definitely be conflict. So to minimize conflict, what would you like to say to people who would want to choose a life partner?
Okay, to begin with, I will say something my dad taught me a few years ago, and he said that there are certain standards and principles and values that you should not compromise on when it comes to choosing a life partner. And one of them, as a Christian, is being born again. You cannot go below that. If you go below that standard, and by the way, to add to that, I started writing a book a few weeks ago, and I started doing a chapter where I started talking about this same sensitive topical issues. And I say, when choosing a life partner, you're not just looking at yourself. As a single and unmarried person, I always advise young people to be selfish. Because being selfish entails you choosing a life partner not just for yourself. You're choosing a life partner that is not going to play a role of a father to your children. Biological unborn children. You know, you're going to choose a life partner that is going to be a father to your spiritual children. He's going to be a father to your adopted children. He's going to be a father to even people that will see you as a role model, and the group of people, the audience that you're going to mentor from afar and from near. So if you choose a life partner that is going to mar that which you are called to do, you would have ruined a destiny and a future that you have not even started. So to marry that with conflict resolution, I think many times is a function of when people are dissatisfied with what their spouses do or significant other. I always like to phrase it that way, significant other. When they are not pleased with certain things their significant other does to them, I think the problem is that we don't know how to communicate our displeasure. Sometimes we come off as abusive, as insulting, to the point where instead of ending up communicating our displeasure, we end up becoming wrong in communicating, what is hurting us. Meanwhile, the person that is supposed to be done wrong now is looking like he's the one that's right.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So many times we just come off as, we communicate the right thing the wrong type of way, and we end up being wrong. So I think many times, if you need to communicate or resolve conflict, you need to first of all return back to yourself, sit down and calculate. The Bible will always say, who of you will want to build a house and will not sit down and count the cost? And I always relate that to conflict resolution. You need to sit down, count the cost. What's the good time to communicate my displeasure to this person? How do I talk to him that he will understand? How do I speak a language that he will understand that I am displeased and I need an apology? I think if we come off from that dimension and that point, we'll be able to communicate rightly and be able to get our spouses to understand the language we're trying to speak, and then be able to apologize rightly, and we'll end up, in a very good place, and relationship continues. Now, to round up of that question you ask, I always teach my young people that, many times we have abused that word dating. You see, I always define dating as a function of it's just dates. Dating was gotten from the word dates. Okay, it's just to
which
settle
of
like
the dates? Is it the Bino dates or just check?
Oh, maybe. Okay, I mean dating in a relationship. What
Dating
the present generation right now describe as commitment, relationship, intimacy, and all of that.
Yeah.
That's what they describe as dating. But originally, from the foundation, that's not what dating was before now. Dating is just to set up a date and two people just go and hang out and have conversation that will help them understand each other better or know certain things they don't know about each other. That's basically what dating is. Dating has nothing to do with sexual relationship. It has nothing to do with intimacy. It has nothing to do with commitment, where you now have somebody that you are in an exclusive relationship with. It has nothing to do with that.
Glued to.
Yeah, glued to.
It's almost a significant other already.
Do you understand? So we're in a generation right now where you see a young man walks up to a woman and said, I want to date you. Do you understand? He just walked up to her and said, I want to date you. Meanwhile, what he actually meant is, I want to be in an exclusive relationship, sexual relationship with you, where in 6 months' time or in 9 months' time, when I'm tired of sleeping with you, I'm going to make up an excuse and move up to the next person that is more attracted than you. And then, jilting breaks into the whole scene. That's basically what they are saying. So what dating actually means is a window period that allows a person knows another person, and then they make a decision whether they want to do life, commitment, relationship, intimacy with this person or not. That's basically what dating is. So the foundation of conflicts always starts from dating, where people misunderstand, misinterpret, and
have wrong expectation.
Have wrong expectation. You just walk up to the street and then you see a beautiful girl or you see a handsome young man, and all of a sudden the first thing that is hitting your mind is that you want to be in a relationship with this person, and the first thing that comes to mind is dating. And that's just a limitation. It's a myopic projection that has limited a whole lot of people in our generation.
Wow, this is a whole lot, and this is a whole lot.
Sir.
For a second I wished I had a note and not just the anchor this afternoon, but yeah, thank God this is recorded. And then please do well to like, to share, to subscribe, and to get your friends to subscribe to get such kind of quality content right here on R4M Studios. I think we're just going to have to draw the curtain at this juncture. In one word, what do you think about relationship generally? Romantic, non-romantic relationship? What do you think?
I think
is it a gift?
Yeah, it's a gift, and I think, to digress a bit, I think healing is one thing that we don't talk about, and is needed in relationships. A lot of times people get into, intimacy, commitment, love, and all of those things they describe as, affection, as a function of rebound, because they got into something with someone and it didn't turn out well, so they decide to jump into another just to get over the other one. And so it continues like that and goes round and round. So they end up in a circle, an unending circle, because there was no healing.
Yeah.
So healing is one of the things that we have not been able to milk, we have not been able to talk about enough. And I want to encourage everyone out there, go for healing. You may just feel or think that you did a relationship, it just didn't turn out well, it didn't turn out well, but you may not understand that you need healing. You need to heal. You invested time, you invested emotions, you invested money, you invested a whole lot of things. It ended up not turning out well. You have to heal. A lot of times when we feel certain things in our body medically, we go to the hospital, we speak to a professional doctor. The professional doctor sends us to where to go and carry out tests. We return back to this same doctor. This same doctor runs us through prescription and then give us either 7 days or 12 days to take these medications, and we return back and he carries out another test. That's how it happens in those days anyway. He carries out another test to make sure that whatever it is that is wrong with you has been flushed out of your system. But in today's, to marry that to relationship and emotional issues, we don't take healing seriously. And that is one thing we must take seriously, and that's what I want to leave you with. Please take healing seriously. Healing is a very serious matter. And if you take it seriously, you discover that you're on a pathway that will bring you success.
Awesome.
Thank you,
awesome. Really loaded. Awesome. Take healing seriously. Take healing seriously. And I would just like to add, as we draw the curtains, that in conflict resolution, it is okay to actually resolve a matter but not continue that relationship if it's really toxic. It's okay to have, fresh air, breath of fresh air, but not necessarily continue in that relationship. And then before the next relationship, like he was saying, you seek healing. You seek healing so you don't repeat classes emotionally. Thank you so much, Sir Don. When you say Sir Don, I just think of this guy, no be Lord Lugard classmate, Sir Don Amos.
As a matter of fact, how that name came is just a mystery. I was growing up and then I had a mentor, and not a mentor per se, somebody I saw as a role model was unfortunately the person was a criminal, and his name was Don. And that's how I came about that name. But I added Sir into it. But in my own context, I decided what Don means is somebody that is in charge of a territory. So with regard to what I do on my field, when I enter a territory, I take charge of that territory. That's basically what Sir Don means. Wow. So when the Amos comes into play, it just gives you a balance, Sir Don Amos.
Sir Don Amos.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
We don't take this for granted. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to join us on our next episode. I said this is the part 1. We're going to have a part 2 of conflict resolutions. I remain prolific. Thank you so much. Do well to share this video, subscribe, and stay glued on Ready for Marriage. Thank you.